Holly Throsby, thanks for coming into The Right Note.
Thank you for having me, Bernard.
In the 17, 18 years since your last album.
No, it hasn't.
How long was it?
6.
Close.
Close. It was close.
In that time, you have been busy doing a few other things.
That's true, yeah.
Having a child and writing a book, which is very well received, Goodwood. Were you writing during the writing of the book, or
writing the songs during the writing of the book? Yeah. Not really. I found that I had to really focus on one thing or another. And I found when I was writing Goodwood, I was so immersed in that fictional world that I wasn't interested in music at all. But before I wrote Goodwood, I had sort of sketched a few songs that I was really happy with and that were sort of sitting in my mind. And once I'd finished the first draft of Goodwood, I had a break from it for some time. And at that point, I wrote a bunch of songs. And then as soon as I'd finished Goodwood, like completely, like as in it was off to the printers, I sort of all of a sudden had this dying passion to make a record, which I didn't actually think I would do again, another record. But all of a sudden, the desire was in me. And so I finished all the songs and wrote some more.
You didn't think you'd record again? Did you think you would keep writing though?
Not really. Not songs. No, I just felt like I'd lost my feeling for it. And I wanted to do something different. And writing fiction was something that's always really interested in me. And once I was involved in the writing of the fiction, I loved it. And I sort of thought, well, this is now for me. But then, yeah, I was quite surprised at how music surfaced again so strongly once I'd finished the book. Like it was a very, very powerful kind of, and I just organised it so quickly. I was in the studio as soon as I could. I got it, I had the band, and I was like manic about making a record, which was probably annoying for my domestic situation.
The second song we've heard from the Aeroplane, the idea of travelling, of being somewhere else, of dreaming. So the song's quite wistful, but also quite hopeful. What does that mean to you, that song? Where did that come from?
It came from being in a situation where I was, I guess being in a situation where it didn't sort of feel like the right place for me anymore. And it also, I was reading a little bit about that whole notion of a geographical cure, which is apparently something that alcoholics do a lot, but I think everybody does. A lot of people I know, especially creative people I know, always do that thing where you move to the other city to kind of, it's going to be better this time, or you go on the trips all the time. And I think travelling is in your bones a bit if you're a musician. Like you're kind of forced to have it in your bones. But also I do like to travel, and I've travelled a lot throughout my whole life. But I still have that kind of idea in my head about getting to the next place all the time. But even though I know it never works, and I don't believe in it anymore, but it's still that romantic idea that I can't help thinking about.
Well, you're working with Sally Selfman in Seek a Lover Keeper with Sarah Blasco, and you're working on a project for this year?
We've been meeting of an evening on a Wednesday and getting together and songwriting together, which is really fun because the last record we all brought songs to the project. I mean, most of them were written for the project, but we did write separately, and then we collaborated on, sharing vocals, swapping vocals. We completely collaborated on the production and all the arrangements and instrumentation, of course, a live show, and creatively everything. But this time we're actually writing the songs together as well, which is very funny. Like it's a really. We're just, the three of us couldn't be more different in our approaches. So it's very funny getting us all together and just seeing the mechanics of how Sarah and Sally both work and how different they are to me. I think we're all really inspired by it and go away and then apply various different techniques to our own writing, which is, it's really interesting.
And you're also writing your next novel or next piece of non-music writing.
Yes, it is a novel, and yes, I am writing that. But it's difficult for me to get the time. I'm about 4 chapters into it at the moment. But I'm really excited about it. It's sort of like now that the record's finished, I'm feeling desperate to go back and write another book. yeah, it's just, I think book writing is so immersive that you need a block of time. So I'm just waiting to get the time.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.